Hello everyone, and welcome back to the NFL Kid. I'm your host Rashim Ricciandani, and what an offseason it's been. It's only been a few weeks, but we already have a bunch of crazy free agency signings and huge trades. From all the Aaron Rodgers drama to the Bears trading away the number 1 overall pick, a lot has happened in these past few weeks, so I'm here to break it all down for you. This will be a 2-part mini-series, and in this first episode, I'll be going through the biggest winners of the 2023 NFL free agency and how those moves will impact teams next season. So let's dive right on into the top 5 biggest winners of the NFL free agency so far. Starting off at number 5, we have Geno Smith. Geno Smith was a backup for almost his entire career, but then last season he really turned his career around. He played insane for the Seattle Seahawks, throwing for over 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns. He led the Seahawks to the playoffs, and he also earned the Comeback Player of the Year award. So this free agency, the Seahawks gave him a huge contract for 3 years worth up to $75 million and $40 million guaranteed. This was a huge win for Geno Smith, and he proved to everyone just how good he really is. Now moving along to number 4, we have Daniel Jones and the New York Giants. Last season, the New York Giants made a surprise playoff run with their first-year head coach Brian Daboll. Brian Daboll really turned around the Giants franchise, and the Giants now seem to believe in Daniel Jones, so they decided to give him a huge contract in order to solidify their franchise quarterback for the next few years. This was a huge win for Daniel Jones, as he went from being thought of as a bust to receiving a contract worth 4 years up to $160 million. He also received $82 million fully guaranteed, meaning that he is now the 7th highest paid quarterback in the league. I think this is definitely a lot of money for the Giants to pay to Daniel Jones, as he is now being paid more money than Matthew Stafford and Lamar Jackson, 2 quarterbacks which in my opinion are definitely better than Daniel Jones. However, Daniel Jones did have his best season as a starter last season, and I'm sure the Giants think he can improve even more this year, which I agree with. Besides re-signing Daniel Jones, the Giants also had some other huge free agency moves. They placed the franchise tag on Saquon Barkley, meaning that they have him for 1 more season, and next year he can decide whether or not he wants to continue playing for the Giants or become a free agent. Last season, the Giants didn't have a lot of weapons for Daniel Jones to throw to, so this offseason, the Giants made that one of their top priorities. They re-signed their best wide receiver from last season, Darius Slayton, and they also traded for the Raiders' star tight end, Darren Waller. Waller was arguably a top 5 tight end in the league, and even though last season he definitely had a down year, that was mostly because he was injured. I think that Darren Waller will definitely rebound and have a much better season this year, and the fact that the Giants only had to give up a 3rd-round pick for him was great value. So between all these signings and trades, I think that Daniel Jones and the New York Giants definitely had a big win of a free agency. Now moving on to number 3, we have the Giants' division rival, the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys had another last-second playoff loss last season, and it just seems like the Cowboys are always missing that one piece. Well, this free agency, the Cowboys decided to go out and really improve their team by getting big impact players. So the Cowboys went out and traded for 5-time Pro Bowl cornerback Stephon Gilmore to pair along their young star in Trayvon Diggs. And although Stephon Gilmore is getting a bit older and definitely past his prime, he is still a very solid cornerback and will definitely help to improve the Cowboys' already good defense. The second big move that the Cowboys made was trading for Texans star receiver Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks has had over 1,000 yards 6 times in his career, and last season he still managed to have 700 yards even with Davis Mills as his quarterback. Brandon Cooks will be a great deep threat for the Cowboys offense because of his speed, and he should be able to take the Cowboys offense to a whole new level. This was a great move for the Dallas Cowboys because they got a legitimate number 2 wide receiver to take the pressure off CeeDee Lamb in the passing game, and they only had to give up a 5th and a 6th round pick to acquire Brandon Cooks. Both of these moves were complete wins for the Dallas Cowboys, and their team should be a lot better improved for next season. Now moving on to number 2, we have the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears had the number 1 overall pick, but since they already had their franchise quarterback in Justin Fields, they decided to make a huge trade and trade the number 1 overall pick to the Carolina Panthers. In return, they received 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and the Panthers' star receiver, DJ Moore. DJ Moore has already had 3 1,000-yard seasons in his 5 years in the NFL, and just like Brandon Cooks, he has still managed to put up great numbers last season, even with mediocre quarterback play. Now Justin Fields is the true number one wide receiver to throw to, and between him, Chase Claypool, and Cole Kmet, the Bears have a legitimate receiving core. The Bears also signed a pair of star linebackers in two-time Pro Bowler Tremaine Edmonds and star TJ Edwards. Both of these players were signed to long-term contracts, and they should really help out the Bears defense, which was one of the worst in the league last season. All of these players and draft picks should really help the Chicago Bears improve next season, and this free agency was a huge win for them. Now moving on to number 1, we have my New York Jets. Even though the Aaron Rodgers trade isn't official yet, the news is coming any day now. Aaron said on the Pat McAfee show that he wants to play for the Jets, and the Packers have already said that they are done with Aaron Rodgers, so we are just waiting for the official news to come out. We don't know what the Jets will have to trade away for Rodgers, but as a Jets fan, it doesn't matter if it's 1 first-round pick or even 2 first-round picks. Getting Aaron Rodgers is 100% worth it. Aaron Rodgers is a first-ballot Hall of Famer, and he's only a year removed from being the back-to-back MVP. The Jets had a great team last season, and all they were missing was a quarterback. Adding one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time in Aaron Rodgers will definitely put the Jets in playoff contention, and we might even be able to win our division. This is the season that Jets fans have been waiting for over a decade. The Jets have the longest playoff drought out of any NFL teams, as we haven't made the playoffs in over 12 years. So adding Aaron Rodgers would by far be the biggest move of the entire NFL offseason. The Jets also signed Packers wide receiver Allen Lazard, who already has familiarity with Rodgers, so that should help out. With Aaron Rodgers, the Jets could make a big playoff run, and I just can't wait for Aaron Rodgers to finally be a New York Jet, and for the Jets to, for the first time in my life, have a real franchise quarterback. This move is 100% a big win for the New York Jets' entire organization and fan base. But feel free to let me know what you thought of NFL free agency down in the comments below. Also, feel free to leave what you thought was the biggest NFL free agency move down in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any more amazing content by the NFL Kid. Part 2 of this mini-series will be coming out very shortly, where I break down the biggest losers of NFL free agency, and you don't want to miss that video. Until next time, my fellow football fans, see you at game time.